Today's topic is students' first 60 seconds in Canvas. We're going to look at strategies to help our students quickly navigate our Canvas course site, kind of show the importance of creating a consistent course structure to help students better plan their work schedule, and then also the important kind of just talking about reducing student cognitive load in terms of having to navigate our course so they can focus more on the course content and not a course administration. And then also looking at how steps to reducing students' anxiety as well. Believe it or not, the way that we've organized our courses can help reduce student anxiety, help them create routines, help them feel like they're a little bit more in control of their schedule and their education. Especially important during this whole COVID thing, where everyone's students' routine of going to the coffee shop before lecture and hanging out with some of their fellow students and talking about the course or talking about lecture, just shooting the breeze about whatever. That's all been disrupted, and so our students' routines have totally been thrown off whack. And so it's really important for us as instructors to find ways that we can help students kind of take back a little bit of control over the routine and helping them establish new routines. And I think we can do that just through the way we organize our course. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, I'm going to transition to the next activity that we've been doing. I find it's really been helpful as we're thinking about strategies, thinking about ways that we can help our students navigate our course so that when they get into the course in that first 60 seconds, they have an idea of what it is they need to do. They don't have to think about, oh, what is it that's going to be due this week? Or, oh, do I have a quiz this week? Do I have a discussion this week? They just kind of they'll be able to see right away based on the strategies that we use as instructors to get them going. Now, this isn't a new topic. This is something that maybe you've done in your own class. So we're going to start off with a short 15-minute discussion about the very topic. We're going to throw up the slides. And so we're going to go through and we're going to answer these together. So we're going to work in a group and talk about what strategies you found most useful, or even some strategies you found that you thought would be useful but really weren't, for helping students better navigate your course, understand course expectations, and establish a course routine. And I've divided, when I was really thinking about this this week, I've divided these strategies into three kind of sequential blocks. The first one is strategies that we're implementing to help our students organize and get ready and prepare when we're building a course. So for this fall, things that we did this summer to help organize our course, or maybe we've done before a spring semester or whatever it is when you were teaching, things you did before the course started, things you did that first week. What were some of the things you did just at the start of the semester to help your students better understand course expectations, better understand what it was that you were wanting from them, how you expect them to communicate or ask questions or pose problems in the course? What did you do that first week? And then finally, strategies that you implemented throughout the semester. So what did you do from weeks 2 through 15 to help your students manage their time, understand what it is that they needed to do? So three different columns that you as a group fill out. So what we're going to have you do is we're going to break you off into groups of 3 or 4. And then at the beginning, select somebody in your group that's going to be a note taker. So as people are talking, there's somebody that's going to make certain that everything that has been discussed is written down. And then somebody who's going to be a presenter. So after we're done discussing in groups, we're going to come back together and share this. And so one person that's going to be a presenter that will kind of communicate to the group, or to all of us, what it was that your group was discussing. Welcome back. Thank you for the discussions there, everyone. I can still see some people typing up in their slides. So let's go through and see what everyone was talking about. So let's go with group 1.
Hey, crew. I'm here. I'll present because I'm the only one with a functional mic in the group. Okay, so things that we talked about were being very consistent as far as when things become available and when things are due. So having everything due on the same day of the week every week. Another thing we talked about was module design. So using visual strategies like subheadings within modules and indenting things to kind of draw student eyes appropriately. And then a lot of the other things were kind of providing for easy exchange of information. So using things like a syllabus quiz or low stakes quizzes to set up expectations and make sure those expectations are clear. Things like a video tour of Canvas and giving students a way to get to know your course and giving you a way to get to know your students through things like pre-course surveys. And then kind of as you go, using targeted Canvas messages to reach out to specific groups of students. I was telling my group I had a relatively big assignment due last night, and so then I went through in the gradebook today, looked to see who hadn't done it, and then kind of did a little bit of research on, what do the grades look like for other items? What does their access report look like to see, are these students who wandered off a week and a half ago? Are these students who just missed one item? Kind of what's their story? How can I get them back into the course? That's all.
That's a lot, Anne. Thank you very much. That was awesome. The syllabus quiz, that was something that I didn't put in even in the handout today as well. That this is a really great tool. Because sometimes we'll give students the syllabus, and maybe they don't read it all. And just having a really low stakes quiz can help not only just make them read it, but also reinforce those things that you're wanting. So those quiz questions aren't just random, but really thinking about those quiz questions being used to reinforce those main points that you want to drive home. Sounds really smart. I love that. Nice. The other with the video tour as well. So a lot of things like at the beginning of that week, that was really smart as well. Just talking about ways, introducing students to the course, and it can be with video. I mean, you can do that screen capture. What did your video tour look like? And was it just you? Was it you talking? Was it you? Did you demonstrate anything?
I think it was Susan with the video tour. She can tell us more in the chat. Screencast, she said.
Did a screencast, yeah. So you can kind of walk through
the same thing.
Oh, so yeah. What was that, Kathy?
I said I've done the same thing where it's a screencast and I'm actually walking through step by step. Here's where I'd find this. Here's where I'd find that.
Yeah, so you can show students instead of just telling students, right? Like kind of show them exactly what it is they need to do, where to find that. That was great. And then the communication too. Thank you. That was just that constant communication. That was great. Thank you. Thank you, Group 1. Group 2. What did you have? I don't know who's presenting.
So I volunteered to present. This is Sarah, and I wanna highlight Sonia's comment in the chat. How to do a screencast would be good to include in a session. So we could keep that in mind for future active teaching labs. And I will also mention to all of you just one quick thing that I learned today. You may already be doing this, but when you receive links in the Collaborate chat window, right-click on them to have them open up as a separate window rather than just open as another browser tab. Because this time I opened them as a browser tab, and so I wasn't even looking at the Collaborate session browser window, and I was completely unconscious of when I was in small group and when I had been moved back to large group. So just a tip for others moving on. So you all may have already heard some of what I was going to present, me talking about how I love the links in Canvas, where you can so easily make connections between various pages and assignments or discussions to help students navigate through the course. In our small group, a lot of our discussion focused on module structure and creating modules that are set up week by week to kind of guide students through the course, including the potential of having things open up as students need it rather than giving students everything all at once and potentially overwhelming them. But in addition, there may be certain aspects of the course, for example, a project that is unfolding gradually over the course of many weeks, where it would make sense to have a module that includes all of the materials students may need for that particular project. And again, because of how Canvas is set up and allows us to link things readily, you can easily put something in more than one module if it appropriately fits there. What else did we say? So also Bill started us off with a really great and important basic reminder, just recognizing how online courses are different from in-person courses, and the extent to which it may need for students to succeed in online courses. There are things, our course design choices and how we introduce them to the course and stay in communication with them. These are even more important in helping students understand course expectations, navigate the course, and establish a course routine.
Thank you, Gertrude. That was great. One of the things that I was really like when you were talking, really treating this as a different. You're really having to teach this differently than you would in a face-to-face course, because it's an online course. It's a different beast altogether. And then I really, as well, was really struck by gradually opening up. And this is something that I've been seeing, like in terms of students requesting, having, a gradual opening of that course instead of just having it all out at once, just really to help students focus on the stuff that they need to do then and there, and not overwhelming them, right? So they feel that they can focus on the one thing. And the other one I found as well, in terms of of just gradually opening it up, and the reason to have that gradual open up is because this is an online course, and especially when we have in our modules lectures and things students need to watch and consume, that there has been some studies on this as well, showing that students, if you release everything like your lectures, especially things that students are supposed to consume, if you open that all up at once, students have a tendency to wait until the last moment and then binge watch that lecture or those lectures. And that's totally not how you're going to consume information. That's maybe how you watch a season of Stranger Things on Netflix, but not how you're going to consume your lecture content and actually retain that content. So I thought that was really smart as well, and kind of dovetailing with what I've been seeing other places as well, in terms of not releasing everything, bam, all at once.
Lane, we've got a good question here from Anne about the best practice for reorganizing modules on the page as you are going through the semester. Do you leave week 1, 2, 3 in that order? I've also seen people put the most recent at top. What's your recommendation for that?
I mean, I would like Kathy, Sarah. I have some ideas.
I usually leave them in order, although I have seen some people always put the most recent at the top. I think as long as you establish what you're going to do at the beginning of the semester, certainly moving the newest one to the top, I see fewer people doing that, but I don't think it's a bad practice.
Can I hop in?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a more recent at the top person, but leaving my introductory module at the top that has information. So actually the most recent is kind of the second module.
Yeah, and what I used to do when I was teaching before, is I would do that. It would be 1, 2, 3, 4, but then I would always take, when week 1 is done, or not the introduction, I always kept that on top, like Ed was saying, but I would just rotate 1 to the bottom. So now it's 2 on top, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's kind of what I would do. One of the cool things that I found recently, and if anybody wants to contradict me, they can, because I've only tested this a few times. But it used to be that when you would do the prerequisites and requirements, if you moved them out of order, it would break that link between the prerequisites and requirements. What I've been seeing now in the latest update with Canvas is you can rotate the modules and those requirements still stick. So even if they aren't directly, 4 is right before 5, still, you can move those modules and the requirements and prerequisites still work. If the instructor, I saw from Bill, let's see, I'm doing a gradual reopening of the course as I continue to tweak material from face-to-face to synchronous online and improve. Absolutely. And then if the instructor collapses a module, in Canvas, does that be collapsed? Is that collapsed for the students? Absolutely, Kathy was saying is does not collapse. But Anne, in terms of your question initially, does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. In the spring, the chaos of the spring, I I started moving new stuff to the top. But as I started this semester, we've just kind of marched down the homepage. So I think I'll just continue with that for now.
Yeah, I think consistency is, one. I think Ed and Kathy and I were kind of maybe slightly different, opinions of how to do it. But I think it's just six of one and half a dozen of the other. And the more important thing is that you're consistent. And
Right.
I think that's the big one. Awesome
you.
questions. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Group 3. What do you got for us, Group 3?
Okay, so I'll do our presentation. I think we've touched on a lot of this stuff before, so I'll just sort of bounce around. Some of the things we did is we built the course, and at the beginning of the semester were things like sending the syllabus ahead of time so students could see it before the course began, making sure there's clear and consistent structure throughout the week so that every week looks as similar as possible so students can just get into a rhythm. And part of that also is making sure that announcements come out at basically the same time every Monday or whatever schedule works for a given teacher. And in terms of thinking about navigating within Canvas itself, removing a lot of the buttons on the side so that students have limited ways to access different things, which then allows you to control the context in which they're seeing something. So both of us in the group use pages to explain what students are supposed to be doing at a given point. And so, for example, you can get into the discussion through that page, but not through the discussions tabs on the left. But lots of reminders, using rubrics to set up expectations. And then we had a long conversation about thinking about how discussion boards and the best way to set those up. And I think that covers it.
Awesome. Thank you, Hillary. And yeah, absolutely. The routine. I love that. Just establishing that routine and establishing a routine not only when we have the assignments due, right? Like, because that's something that maybe we talked about here before. Having the same schedule for when your discussions are, when your assignments are due, and not mixing that up, right? But having a routine in terms of communication as well can be really important. So students can anticipate that on Monday, you're going to send an announcement to them. That's going to explain what it is that's going to be happening this week, or maybe any big updates that could be happening. So having a routine in terms of communication. Another thing I was seeing as well on routine is what students were saying when we've moved all online kind of as a nation, was having keeping the same pattern in terms of what communication tools you use. So not mixing it up between emails or announcement, but keeping it the same. So having just announcements for your regular communication with your students versus emails, right? Just picking one or the other and then going with that. So that way when a student's thinking about, hey, I knew there was this big announcement for a paper that was coming up in a couple weeks. Was that in my email inbox or was it my announcement? Where is that at? Sarah, did you have a question?
Oh, I just wanted to throw in a plug for using Canvas announcements as a way of communicating with students. I think there are two great advantages that they offer us. One is that they're in a centralized location in the course, so we and our students know where to find things easily if we need to go back and refresh our minds of some details. But the other thing is that because Canvas is set up to allow students to set their notification preferences as they want, there are very likely students who are using the mobile app and getting push notifications. I know there are many undergraduate students who don't like to check their email, and email is actually not necessarily the best way to communicate with students, especially those who would rather get push notifications on their phone. And so Canvas allows us to post an announcement, and students are getting notified about that in the way that they prefer.
Could you just elaborate? And thank you, because I think that's absolutely right. Could you elaborate on why, like email, you don't think that is maybe the best route?
So this is just, I haven't done a broad survey among UWM students. This is just kind of what I'm gathering informally. I will say that I earlier this year was doing a kind of project and asking students to sign up and let me know how they preferred that I communicate with them. And roughly half of the students picked email, and the other half said they would rather I sent them text messages on their phone. And this aligns with what I've kind of more broadly heard about this student generation, that a lot of them, for them, email really is not their preferred form of communication. And again, what's nice about communicating through the Canvas course site is those students who really do use email and want things to come to their UWM email, they can set up their notifications to allow that. But other students who have a different preference will set up their notifications accordingly. And then we as instructors don't need to guess. But if we use our UWM email to send things out to students, you know, they don't have the option of setting that up to just get a push notification on their phone.
Hey,
And in response to Hillary's question, messages from the Canvas inbox, there is also that option for a mobile phone push. So again, I would guess that students who prefer that form of notification will have it set up that way.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. That was really helpful. I've been hearing some of the same things about email, and I wasn't sure if it was just like things I was remembering, but I was really thank you for that explanation, because that was, I remember hearing before, like, you know, email is a little too formal, and sometimes you just want to get that information without all the salutations and postscripts and all that. Ed, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, and I just wanted to echo what Sarah said and add something else about announcements versus email. Like, email goes somewhere, and who knows where it goes, and the announcements are always going to be in your class. So if a student says, well, I didn't get that email, or I didn't get this, or oh, it went to a different account, or it got caught in spam, that's fine. But your announcements are always in the class, so they have less excuse to say, I lost it, I didn't know where it was. So if you use that as your main form of communication, it is always in the course. It kind of ends the excuse of, I didn't see. But that's
Awesome.
just me.
Yeah, no, I love that. I mean, that's great. Thank you. Bill, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to add to what Ed and Hillary were just saying. What I do is I will send my students, and I teach only master's degree students, so I'm thinking they might be a little bit more, you know, they might check email just a little more, I don't know. But I email stuff, and then I will copy the pertinent parts of that email into an announcement. You know, I'll get rid of all the how are you doing stuff, and it's like, all right, here's my announcement, blah, blah. So it's in two places, and I'll say copied from the email, so they're not thinking it's new material, because I do think it's annoying to read an email and then see an announcement and read it and think it's new stuff. And so I try to have two places, so there's like no excuses. They're there, they're pasted to the top of the page. If you don't see it, that's on you.
Thank you, Bill. And the last thing, and maybe this is something that was brought up as well, but with announcement, I was just thinking as well, is that, you know, we were talking about timing and having things released at a certain time. Email, you click send and it's gone. An announcement, you can set to release at a certain time. So that way you can get it, like, you know, maybe 8:30 in the morning, or you can set it at a certain time. So it always goes out. You can prep it the day before and have it go out at a certain day. That's another one as well. Finally, just in terms of what we were talking about today, you can edit them if you have any typos. Bill, did you have something else?
Yeah, on the announcements. Now, the course I'm teaching now is you know, brand new, so I haven't done it. But in previous courses that I've actually had multiple semesters, when I finish the semester, I'll go and I'll look at the announcements that I made, and then when I set it up for the next semester, I will, the next time I teach it, I'm going to put those announcements, you know, timely announcements, synchronize with the different things and set them up to send, and then I can adjust them before I send them. But just the core important thing that I'm trying to convey in that announcement, I preload it just to remind myself to send it, and then I'll check it as I'm going through the course of, oh yeah, I want to add this point and this point or whatever, or take this point out. And that I found it's been very helpful for my communication.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, because definitely you can just reduce, reuse, recycle on that one. Oh, thank you, Sarah, as well. If you use Outlook, you can actually time your emails as well. There we go. Thank you. Awesome. All right, I'm learning, a lot today. Okay. So another thing I wanted to bring up before, because we're running out of time. Thank you for all your groups and your participation. This was a really great discussion. I really appreciated your input, all of you. We were talking today as well about what we can do to help students get going. And Ed Price, who is teaching his own course, has some ideas had some ideas as well in terms of how to get students started in this semester and get going. And Ed, I'll let you share that right now. Do you want me to leave the page up, or do you want me to go to like the Canvas course?
All right. So the idea being that there's some kind of welcome module for students, and I heard a lot of good things, and I mirror some of these things, and I'll take some more of the things that you folks have said too. But I like to time things out, and even before I release the whole class or modules to people, this would be the only thing that when I first published my course, and it just is the first quick module, and it's pretty generic, but it'd be like click here first. So what are they going to do? They're going to first here, and these are the important things you need to do, like read the syllabus, and in here would be linked the syllabus for them. Make sure you get your textbooks, verify the library access, those type of things. I like to do some kind of course introductory video, and it's just a quick video that kind of walks through the course and puts a face behind things. Hey, welcome to the course. Here's this. And I usually like to take them through a quick, like, how do I organize the course? So a lot of times I'll go into the student view and publish things, and so they can kind of see this is where you'd find this. This is where you'll find this. Just kind of that quick overview, and a couple subsequent pages about the overview of the course, where you can get help resources for the course, any technology things that you need for the course. I like to lay out there beforehand the online engagement and expectations, talk a little bit about netiquette since, nobody has any, just trying to give us some outlines in there, how to submit assignments and things like that, just some very information. I have students submit work in Canvas. It's handwritten, it's math, so a lot of them, how do I do that? Because you don't want to pull JPEGs in and things, so walk through exactly how they would use a scan app on their phone or scan things into Canvas, so there's less confusion there. And when a student says, hey, I can't figure out how to do this, I can push them right back to the course and say, here it is. And I think Canvas is wonderful, but does a horrible job of hiding feedback to students. So I also like to have this page here too about how students can find feedback in Canvas, so it's more than just a grade. And this is the module that I tend to keep on the top of things all the time, and then go in reverse order, so 5, 4, 3, 2, and that type of thing. So Lane, and I knew you were going to ask, and I was going to say, and Lane has all of this in the course and in the handout today. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so Lane can ask that. And Sue, you asked about in comments. I'm going to let Lane take over all that because we made some kind of decisions about where to put that. So it's all yours, Lane.
So yes, all of this Ed slides I put on today's, I put a link to the page on today's handout. So if I go down and find it, let me see, where was I had it just drawn up and then I lost it a second. See where we go, down a little bit. Strategies at the start. There it is. So this is a copy of that structure. And then if you click on the link, that'll take you back to the course, the Canvas course. Now it's popping up. All right, so this is the Canvas course, and this is the 29th of September students' first 60 seconds in Canvas page. It's now the home page. And if you look down, you'll see getting started module. This is add sample module. And then here it is. This is kind of what it would look like inside of Canvas. And then here is a link to each one of the individual pages that you can then copy and paste and use as you would like. So that is available right there. We just didn't have time. We just weren't able to put it on comments today. Suzanne, thank you though for asking. The last thing I wanted to talk about, and certainly not least, a lot of what we're talking about in terms of using different strategies, different teaching strategies to help your online course. Specifically this week was really helping your students navigate through the course, giving your students some ability to reduce the cognitive load and reduce their stress by creating routines and a good user interface. These are some themes that are covered in CETL's online and blended teaching program. And if we look, if I got to go down a little bit on this page, right here, strategies. Sarah McDonald shared a wonderful document that's kind of like a little teaser for online and blended teaching program, strategies for effective Canvas course organization and navigation. And so that document right there gives you some really great resources and content that supplements what we were talking about today. And then if you're interested in learning more, I'd really recommend, if you haven't already, check out the online and blended teaching program. You can click on that link that's available right there. And that will give you more information about OBTP. And then sign up. And you have different ways of doing it. You can do it, either kind of at your own pace, or you can do it as kind of more of a cohort-based version as well. Sarah, did you want to add anything about that? I didn't want to talk about that without letting you have a chance.
Oh, thanks. I will just say that for any of you who are participating in the OBTP communities of practice, I'm further editing my document, and so another version of that will show up later on in the community of practice curriculum. But yeah, meanwhile, absolutely, please do go to our self-paced OBTP if you haven't yet. And many of the strategies that I'm talking about in that document are also featured in that program.
Thanks, Sarah. Awesome. All right, I'm going to we'll start wrapping this up today. So I just wanted to thank all of you for your participation today. It's really wonderful just to communicate and to just talk with you each week. It's a highlight for me just to get this sort of interaction and just learn from all of you, because I really do learn so much just by talking with you all. So thank you so much, especially during COVID. This is really meaningful. Just want to kind of look forward to next week. We're going to be talking about improving our online discussions and forums. So really looking more at strategies for asynchronous online communication. So just be working with that. And as well, I will get the recording from today's session and the handouts all emailed to you by tomorrow. I've been trying to do it the same day. It's just not quite feasible. So we'll have an email tomorrow. And then finally, please do. I have been neglecting to put this up the first 2 weeks, and so I really want to get this up now. Please do fill out the evaluation. It just like when we're doing the face-to-face sessions, they were so helpful for me getting your feedback to see what do we need to do to improve, what can we do to make this more impactful and useful for you as you're teaching. So please do fill out the evaluation. Thank you again for your attendance and for all your work today. Have a great week, and we'll look forward to seeing you back next week. Have a great week. I will stick around if you have any questions, though. So I'm just to kind of explain how to do this kind of walkthrough PowerPoint session, slide session. So what I do then is this is in slides, and I'm sure you can do this in PowerPoint or something similar. But I'm having this going in slides, and then I click on File inside of Google Slides, click on Publish to Web, and Publish to Web sets up a separate URL for that slide. So there's a tab going that I have in the background that just is automatically cycling through these slides. And I know you can do this with Google Slides. I know you can do this with Prezi. I used to do this with Prezi a lot. And I'm sure you could probably do this with PowerPoint as well. I just haven't gone through that process yet. So if somebody finds something while we're talking today, please show me or tell us, because that would be awesome. But yeah, that's how I'm doing it, is using Google Slides, Publish to Web, and just have it set to a 5-second timer, and it automatically cycles through. And then I go to Blackboard Collaborate and I share my Google tab. And so that way you get a full screen image of the slide, and it just automatically goes on in the background, and I don't have to do anything. That's kind of what I like.
And in PowerPoint, you can do that with, you'll go to slideshow in your menu, set up slideshow, and loop continuously until escape. And you can set up the other settings as necessary, but anyway, that's how you'd get that in PowerPoint.
And Kathy, is that in PowerPoint Online or PowerPoint the application?
I'm looking at PowerPoint the application.
Okay, so then you would
Let
have
me check online.
Okay.
Yeah, you would share it. You could, anyway, I'll check that in a second.
Awesome. So there, yeah, awesome. Thank you, Kathy. And then, so then, Suzanne, you don't actually have to do anything. It's just automatically running in the background as you're taking notes and stuff. So.
Oh, Lane, just to kind of follow up with everybody about PowerPoint. Remember how we were doing that auto slideshow, and you asked if it could be done in the browser-based version? What you would do is you would set the slideshow settings in the desktop version, but you can run it in the browser version after it's set.